Welcome everybody to a look at another HMV Premium Collection release. This came out in 2017. Not a new release by any means, but it's still a film that is well worth looking at, and it is 1974's The Yakuza. So this is directed by Sidney Pollack, who's far from my favourite director, but I did somewhat enjoy the likes of 3 Days of the Condor, The Firm, and Tootsie, although this is definitely my favourite of the films that I've seen from him so far. So this is a neo-noir crime drama, clocking in at 112 minutes long. Stars the likes of Robert Mitchum, who I've seen in 19 other films, favourites being the likes of Night of the Hunter, Out of the Past, Cape Fear, and The Enemy Below. Also stars Ken Takakura, who was also in Go-Go 13, Red Peony Gambler, and The Bullet Train. So yeah, mostly seen him in stuff that is non-English language, although he was in Black Rain alongside Michael Douglas, but his non-English language roles outside of this film are typically my favourite from him. Also stars Eiji Okada, who was in the X from Outer Space and Satuchi's Conspiracy, which was the 25th film in that series. Stars Herb Edelman, who was in The Odd Couple, and finally James Shigata, who was in The Crimson Kimono, which is a film I was alluding to when reviewing Bad Day at Black Rock, which had that really rather landmark interracial kiss way back in 1959, which is when several US states still had laws that were banning interracial marriage and such. So it was a really landmark kind of film. But most well knowing from the likes of Die Hard, where he played Mr. Takagi. Whose suit unfortunately got ruined. So yeah, when George Tanner does business with high-ranking Yakuza Tono, Tono kidnaps his daughter, and George summons his old friend, Private Eye Harry Kilmer, to Japan to investigate. So Tanner's daughter gets kidnapped because he doesn't fulfill on the deal with Tono, and yeah, therefore she is held hostage to yeah, basically get the money from him that he is owed. So yeah, but nonetheless, if you are looking for an action-packed film, then this neo-noir crime drama isn't going to satisfy you, as outside of a couple of extremely tense and well-done action scenes, this is nonetheless a thoughtful, subtle, and character-driven effort that manages to be engrossing thanks to those three aspects. The cast is also great. It uses the Japanese setting extremely well. I love the fact it doesn't just use the English language, even for the Western actors, as it helps to make it feel more like a Japanese film rather than an American one that just so happens to be in Japan. It is well shot, the score is great, it is predominantly well paced, the plot is well constructed, the script is not just solidly written but also has a couple of surprises that I wasn't expecting, while the action scenes that are featured are utterly riveting and surprisingly realistic in terms of violence. Not the most violent film that I've ever seen from that is set in Japan, because obviously this is only rated a 15, whereas in many of other Japanese films that are obviously rated a lot higher than that. But on the whole, this is an excellent film, and yeah, one that I am surprised doesn't have more love, although I can fully see why some people don't rate this as highly. Critics at the time, for instance, weren't particularly bowled over by it, and even though it had a sizable production and a good cast and such, and the budget was about 5 million, it unfortunately bombed at the box office, making only about 1.5. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame really, but I feel like this is overall a really good film. I certainly see the criticisms that some people have, for instance, it is obviously trying to balance two halves. It's trying to balance a more romantic and dramatic effort alongside the more gangster and violent side of things. But I think it blends both elements together more successfully than it fails to do so. So yeah, that's all very good. We also have four versions of the poster on in art card form. So that's one I've seen a lot of. This is one I've not seen a lot of, but I really like the look of. I like that as a poster, to be honest. And then the one that we've seen already on the slipcover. And then another one that I've seen plenty of as well. So, yeah, really nice art cards there. And extras in terms of on the disc, we have a commentary by the director Sidney Pollack, a vintage featurette called Promises to Keep, and the theatrical trailer as well. So, on the whole, a very good film, and one that I feel like is more deserving of a reappraisal than some films get, which, yeah, it's just a real shame that it's, yeah, not seemingly got more love than it needs, but given it was a box office bomb, given it's obviously trying to balance two halves, and yeah, even though you have well-known actors in this, you know, have people that were, you know, incredibly popular at the time. In fact, Robert Redford was apparently supposed to be the lead in this, but he turned it down because he felt he wasn't old enough for the lead role that Robert Mitchum was in. But you can definitely see, had Robert Redford been in it, that it at least would have done really well at the box office. Whether or not he'd have been better than Mitchum in that lead role is another thing entirely. He probably would have been able to get involved in the action a little bit more. Although I still think Robert Mitchum puts in far more into the action scenes than he probably never ever had to do so, especially given he was far older than the rest of the cast that he's cast alongside. So, yeah, I think it's overall a really, really impressive effort. It gets a 4.5 out of 5 from me. And yeah, it's my favourite Sidney Pollack film that I've seen so far. And yeah, definitely one of my favourites from the likes of Mitchum and Takakura there as well. So yeah, highly recommend it if you haven't seen it already. But if you have, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But nonetheless, thank you for watching. And I'll see you with the next one. Bye.